FM Los Angeles.
On Real Town Hall.
We as the people have to be fed up and say enough is enough.
We stop the music as Big Boy and Jay Cruz take over to talk about serious issues in the Black and brown community,
including the importance of voting next month.
Get out to vote.
Right now with Real 92.3.
LA's new home for hip-hop.
Standing up to racism and racial injustice in the Black and brown community.
Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip-hop, is standing up to racism and racial injustice in the Black and brown community. It is definitely going down, man. Jay Cruz up in here, real town hall meeting.
It's going down right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bro. And you know what? Of course, you know, we're always going to hit you guys with hip-hop and the fun, but sometimes also, Cruz, you got to speak to the people.
Absolutely.
And we have a great town hall that's going down today, man. We got some guests that's going to come in. We're going to talk about, of course, everything with, you know, Measure J. We're going to talk about the power of your vote, what's going on in your community, why it's important to get out there, you know, and also just we got Sheriff Alex Villanueva who will be here.
Yes.
Also, we got Van Jones.
That's my guy.
That's a hell of a political correspondent right there.
Yes, sir.
And we just got calls that we're also going to have in here, man. And I think that it's up to us to talk to our people. Cruz.
Absolutely. There's so many questions that need to be answered, so many things that need to be cleared up as well. Even if it's already clear, there's still some people out there that think my vote doesn't count, right? I've heard you talk about that, Big Boy. My existence, my vote, my voice doesn't count. Yes, it does now more than ever. This is a good time, too, to go to real923la.com/change, register to vote, get involved. It's up to us. It's literally in our hands.
And read up on what's going on.
Absolutely,
and we understand that when it comes to an election, we think, okay, we got to get Trump out or get, you know, I'm not voting for Biden, wherever you're going.
So much more to that.
Yeah, but it's so much more, man. And I think not only with a real town hall meeting, it's not us speaking to the people. Like, there's still a lot that I need to learn. Like, there's still a lot I need to read upon, you know, and why it's very important that we vote this voting time, this election, bro.
No, I know, Big. I know you believe this as well. We together, you and I will learn a lot through this town hall as well, along with our listener family. So this is going to be a great day.
And I just say, man, just give us your time. You know what I'm saying?
Please.
Just give us your time, because what we're going to do, man, we're going to learn a lot together. We're going to pretty much explore a lot together. And there's also just hopefully, man, there's some questions that will be answered today. You know, so just give us your time, learn a lot. As I learn a lot, we're going to bring great people into a real town hall meeting, and, you know, just spend the time with us and learn. And I would say at the end of this town hall meeting, I'm hoping that you will feel what your power really is.
Sure.
You know, and that you will register to vote, and you will, because we're seeing suppression right now. You know, we're seeing, you know, the okey doke, the sleight of hands. And I know that this election year is going to be a little different because, you know, the polling places and the mail-ins and the ballots, so on and so forth.
Yes.
But we spend a lot of time doing other things that's not as important as getting out and voting, you know? So hopefully we'll change some minds. Hopefully we'll learn a lot.
A real town hall meeting is happening right now. And when we come back, Mayor of Long Beach, Robert Garcia.
Yeah, man.
This is close to home, Los Angeles.
And that's what we talk about when we say the local vote as well. It's really very important. So, man, a real town hall meeting. We got Mayor of Long Beach, Robert Garcia, coming up next.
Stay right here.
It's our Real Town Hall
with Big Boy and Jay Cruz on Real 92.3.
Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip-hop, standing up to racism and racial injustice in our Black and brown communities. Big Boy's neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Jay Cruz, The Cruz Show, a real town hall meeting. Our next guest, Mayor of Long Beach, Robert Garcia. Mr. Garcia, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Hey, happy to be here. Thank you. Turning out the vote. Sounds good.
That's what it's about, right?
Yeah. Before we get into anything, Mayor Garcia, how important locally is our vote?
It's incredibly important. I think that people don't realize how critical this election is. Everyone's got to come out and vote, and it's not just about voting, of course, for the top of the ticket, which is the presidential race, but there's so many state propositions that affect people directly. There's local elections at your city level. They all deserve a vote. I mean, our voice needs to be heard, especially when you're talking about communities that have typically been marginalized, communities that are right now on the streets that are protesting. People need to get engaged and get out and vote. And the best way, I believe, of showing that you want change in your country is to vote.
Mayor Garcia, this is Cruz. The young vote and education. Can you break that down for us and how important that is as well?
Absolutely. I mean, before I became mayor, I spent 10 years teaching at the college level, and I would tell my students the same thing every year, which was that students and young people are dramatically underrepresented at the polls because typically younger people don't vote.
Right.
And they think that what happens in the government doesn't affect them when it's the opposite. Because, older folks are more likely to vote, the decisions oftentimes that politicians or others make, especially in Congress, are focused on folks that are older, and rightly so, but they should also be focused on the issues of younger people, and they're not. And so the more the younger people get out and vote, the more that people are going to listen to the issues that they care about, and the more that we're going to elect people that represent a broader, the broader diversity of what actually California actually looks like.
And what about the younger demographic, and not even just the younger, the ones that say, you know what, my vote don't count. It does not count.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Mayor?
Well, first, I understand that. So, I get when people feel like their vote doesn't count or that government's not changing fast enough, and I get that. It was frustrating to me before I was in government, and it's still frustrating now. But people need to know that voting does make a difference. I think about my first election when I got elected mayor. It was a very, very close race. I barely won my race. I became the first person of color, first Latino to be elected in the history of the city of Long Beach, which is a diverse city. And that was decided by young people because they came out and voted and gave me a shot. And here we are 6 years later. And those kind of impacts can happen all over the place. And elections can be won by a small amount of votes. Young people, if they voted proportionately like everybody else, we could be dominating who gets elected. And so it's really, really important, especially this year, for young people to vote and get out the vote. And there's some really critical propositions and candidates that are out there that need votes.
Big boy, Snoop said he was voting for the first time on your show.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Garcia from Long Beach, what was your reaction when you heard that on Big Boy's Neighborhood?
Well, I love that. I've had a chance to meet Snoop a couple of times. Obviously, it's funny. So Doggy Style is the first album I ever bought myself. So
That's right.
Yeah, first album I ever bought myself. Listened to it nonstop. When I was in high school, and so it means a lot to me. And obviously, I've met him a few times, and I've seen him in concert here in Long Beach a couple of times actually. So I love to hear that. Long Beach loves Snoop, of course, and we're glad that he's going to vote. And we need more folks voting. People need to get out and show, especially because there's a lot of efforts, especially to discourage, particularly young Black folks, young Latinos to vote. And we got to show that that's not who we are and that we are ready to take this on. If you look at traditionally who some of the best voters are, traditionally there's a history, particularly within the Black community, of really great voting, of taking voting as a really important moment and way of showing someone's what their values are, right? And I think you learn that from kind of the elders within the community. I think as young people, many have forgotten that, and we need to reconnect and understand how powerful that vote is.
And how will the vote happen in Long Beach? Are we going all mail-in ballots, or are you trying to figure out any polling places that will be open?
Yeah, and so what's happening in Long Beach is really what's going to happen across the state of California. So first is ballots are going to start arriving in most of the state next week. So people should start receiving their ballots early, mid next week, certainly here in the greater LA region, but really all up and down the state as well. And so that's going to happen once people get their ballots. I'm encouraging folks to vote early. Everyone will receive a mail-in ballot. Even if you didn't request a mail-in ballot, you're going to get one. That's now the law here. And even if you live in the LA region, you don't even need a stamp. You just grab that ballot, and I think that's statewide also. You just can put it right in the mail. I encourage folks to vote early. When you get your ballot, fill it out, send it in. But please know that voting by mail is safe. There's a lot of rhetoric out there that voting by mail is somehow not safe. Right. It is safe. You can take that ballot and vote by mail. Also, across the county, there are drop boxes where you can return your ballot. If you prefer to just take your ballot, most libraries all across the county, community centers, city halls, you can drop your ballot off there if you want. Then on actual election day, all across the region and the state, there are going to be polling centers. Most will be open the weekend before, but certainly the day of the election. So if you really want to vote in person and you don't want to vote by mail, you can absolutely go to a polling center and vote the day of the election. You can look up your polling center just by visiting your city's, website, or even the state. All you got to look up is, I want to find my polling center. It'll come right up on on any search engine. But really, you're going to get a ballot in the mail. Vote, put it in the mail, and you're done. And I encourage the people to vote early when they can.
Mayor Garcia, Measure US. Please, in a few words, break that down for us.
Yeah, Measure US is a Long Beach measure, which I'm supporting. It's been put on the ballot by the city council as well. It's essentially an oil barrel tax or fee. So when oil comes out of the ground, there's currently a fee or a tax on that. This would increase that tax on that oil barrel fee. It's paid not by residents, and it's not paid for by the community. It's paid for by the oil companies, and that fee on this ballot would then go back into paying programs around racial justice, climate change, environmental justice. And so it's called Measure US. And they'll help fund a lot of great programs for young people, just to help with the environment, and also help with issues around racial injustice around the environment. And so that's really what we're looking at doing. And again, it's not paid for by local residents. It is paid for by the oil companies.
That's good news.
And that's exactly what we were talking about, Mayor Garcia.
Absolutely.
What we were saying, it's not just president, vice president, but also locally what's going on in your city. The reason why sometimes you would drive and you say, why is this pothole in my neighborhood, is because, you know what, we let certain things get past us. I really want to thank you, man. Of course, Jay Cruz want to thank you as well.
Thank you
for speaking with our listeners during our Real Town Hall meeting. Mayor of Long Beach, Robert Garcia, thank you. You have yourself a great day, okay, sir?
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
And when we come back to our Real Town Hall meeting, we got attorney Benjamin Crump. And Benjamin Crump is the attorney for Breonna Taylor.
Sure.
Michael Brown, Ahmaud Arbery.
These cases are far from over.
Yeah, far from over. But just specifically, man, just what we had a chance to bear witness with Breonna Taylor. And I really have to take his temperature on, how do these things continue to happen?
Oh, this is going to be so good.
Yeah, man. So we got attorney Benjamin Crump coming into our Real Town Hall meeting that is next.
It's our Real Town Hall
with Big Boy and Jay Cruz on Real 92.3.
Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip-hop, is standing up to racism and racial injustice in the black and brown community. Big Boy's Neighborhood, a Real Town Hall meeting is going down. Big Boy's Neighborhood, can't forget Jay Cruz.
Thank you, man.
Cruz Show, what up, brother?
Great to be here, Man. Talk to me about our next guest, Big Boy.
Man, Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump, if you don't know the name, man, this is an attorney that, his cases are always, to me, felt like they're pushed uphill. Trayvon Martin. George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and the list goes on. And recently, just, with Breonna Taylor and the things that we saw, that's been the outcome. So I'm ready to go ahead and bring our guy into our Real Town Hall meeting, and that is attorney Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump, Ben, how you doing, my brother?
Hey, Big Boy, I'm always grateful to talk to you, because you always uplift our culture.
Hey, man, I appreciate you calling, man. I know that there's so much that's going on in our world, and I can't imagine what you're going through. But just with Breonna Taylor, Benjamin Crump, bro, how did they get this one wrong again?
Big Boy, what happened was the Kentucky Attorney General, this black man who is a Republican, who was the first black to be attorney general, he presented to the grand jury, and Breonna's family is devastated. We all are heartbroken, because we're wondering, what evidence did he present to that grand jury, and did he present any evidence on Breonna Taylor's behalf? Because if he didn't, Big Boy, he unilaterally put his finger on the scales of justice to exonerate those police officers and to make sure that Breonna Taylor's family wouldn't get due process and wouldn't get justice. So we are demanding, big boy, that he release the transcript of the grand jury proceedings so we can see if Breonna had anybody speaking for her in that secret grand jury to yield this ridiculous result that a wanton endangerment on the walls of her white neighbors being shot at, but no wanton endangerment for Breonna Taylor's apartment or wanton endangerment for the black neighbors who had a bullet shot in their apartment, and especially, big boy, no wanton murder for the bullets that went into Breonna Taylor's body. What did this guy do with that grand jury? That's what the family is demanding to know.
Hey, man, and people think like, oh, it can't be that much. I think you guys are looking into it too. There's no twist. There's no conspiracies. There's no fix. There's no, and it is true. We see it time and time again. And even when I was looking at the Attorney General, and then I'm like, dude, Trump supporter speaking at, Trump's convention, like certain things is with the good old boys. When you see it, you think, okay, this is not that this is a brother, so he's going to look out, but you think at some point, okay, maybe this can happen. But just the affiliation, it can't be a coincidence that we got this kind of what I feel another part of injustice where we got a $15,000 bail. We got absolutely no murder, manslaughter, homicide, no charges other than. And then when you just broke it down also, Ben, when you said even the other neighbors, the black neighbor bullet that went through the wall, there was no endangerment there. Breonna Taylor's wall, like at least pack on these dumbass charges as well.
Exactly. You're absolutely right, big boy, because they get to add 5 more years for Breonna Taylor, 5 more years for the black neighbor, but they only put charges on the white neighbor's apartment, which underscores that there seems to be 2 justice systems in America, one for black America and one for white America. And to be more specific, when you look at Breonna Taylor's case and what he presented to the grand jury, he failed to present the reason they were at Breonna Taylor apartment in the first place, big boy, was based on a lie. It was this probable cause affidavit that was prepared by this lieutenant, which was the basis for the judge signing this no-knock warrant that allowed them to go and bust open Breonna Taylor's apartment in the middle of the night. And that was the fact that they said Breonna Taylor was having packages delivered to her home, and the United States Postal Inspector gave them that information. Well, the United States Postal Inspector came out and said that was not true. They don't have any record of any packages being delivered to Breonna Taylor's apartment in 2020. And furthermore, they keep parading this one neighbor who says he heard the police knock and announce, but yet our legal team, we have 12 neighbors who live in close proximity to Breonna's apartment who said they didn't hear anybody knocking and announcing that they were the police. And the fact that this one neighbor that they keep trying to hang their hat on, they failed to tell that he gave 2 previous statements that said he didn't hear anybody announce they were the police, but yet you saw him say this was justified based on that one neighbor.
Where do we go from here, Benjamin Crump?
We can never give up hope, because as bad as it is now with this tragic killing of Breonna Taylor and all of these what I call 1619 pandemic killings, I mean, Jacob Blake, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, out there in Los Angeles with you, Dijon Kinsey, in Lafayette, Louisiana, Trayford Pellerin. And I'm just talking about in the 6 months.
Oh, yeah. Andres Guardado, and, by the LASD, it goes on and on, bro.
Yeah, and despite all of that, man, what we have to remember is what I learned in first-year law school. They indoctrinated in our minds, big boy, when we were in first-year law school. They kept saying everything has to be based on precedents. They kept saying precedents. All these cases today got to be based on precedents from previous cases because we want consistency in the law. Now, I didn't believe that because I know based on precedents in America, the United States Supreme Court said that we would be slaves if we just followed precedents only. But I understood what they were trying to get us to understand. that based on precedents, it is a good indicator what is likely to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of the precedents of black people in America, I think about the precedents that we overcame slavery. I think about the precedents that we overcame the Middle Passage. I think about the precedents that we overcame being defined as 3/5 of a human being.
Yes,
I think about the precedents that we overcame the Reconstruction. I think about the precedents where we overcame Plessy v. Ferguson. We overcame separate but equal. We overcame Jim Crow. And so I think about the precedents of everything our grandparents and our ancestors overcame. And what I am assured of based on precedents is that whatever they throw at us today, black people, we going to overcome it.
Benjamin Crump, I thank you for your time, bro. I know you're extremely busy, man, making sure that we're all okay. And I thank you, man. And thank you for sharing your moments, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, bro. And anytime that you need us and you need to speak to the people, bro, we are here with you. But Benjamin Crump, I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, major love and respect for you, big boy. Thank you for uplifting the culture always.
Man, and you continue to fight. I'm with you, brother. You be good, all right, Crump?
All right, God bless.
God bless you.
Okay, so when we come back, a real town hall meeting is happening right now. Big Boy's Neighborhood, Jay Cruz, the Cruz Show, Real 92.3, real923la.com/change, register to vote. Make so much happen right there. When we come back, we're speaking to Van Jones.
Yeah, man.
Van Jones from CNN. You saw him on Sesame Street?
Nah, I didn't, bro.
Man, he turned it up.
Hey, man, just the political correspondent are all around, bro.
Absolutely,
and speaking
yes.
with him, you know, sometimes you get lost in translation when somebody's speaking about, you know, politics or, you know, and it's always numbers
confusing.
and
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, but when you talk with Van, bro, like you understand it.
He speaks directly to the voter. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you know, and it's not about, you know, oh, I got these words and I got to move this around and you got to, you know, after it's over, you got to, you know, study what he's talking about. It's just a real man talking about real issues in real conversation.
I've had some time with him as well, and he came off very fair. He was very fair.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in the middle, but fair.
Yeah, and you know one thing I enjoy about him and what we're going to hit you guys with in our town hall meeting is how he didn't hold his tongue. You know what I'm saying? And not that Van Jones is, you know, known for holding his tongue, but he could if he wanted to. It was just like conversation, like if you were just sitting in, you know, down with one of your partners. You know what I'm saying? And
that's what it's about.
Yeah, and that's the way you want to have these conversations, man, because sometimes so much get lost in the sauce and so much get lost in translation. So when you get a guy like Van Jones, who is that's a hit for our town hall meeting.
Yes.
You know, so
time.
I want you guys to continue hanging out with us, man. We got more of a real town hall meeting, and Van Jones is here next.
It's our Real Town Hall
with Big Boy and Jay Cruz on Real 92.3.
Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip-hop, standing up to racism and racial injustice in our black and brown communities. You are now checked into a real town hall meeting. Big Boy.
Yeah, man. This one right here that we're about to bring into our town hall meeting, man. Van Jones, you know, you see him on CNN. You see him as a political correspondent.
Yes.
So let's bring our good friend into our town hall meeting right here. Van.
As you know, we're in an election year. I would say the most important election year that I felt like in my life. When I saw, you know, that we had Obama, I was like, oh, man, you know, I was already registered voted before. But that was one of those where I'm like, man, we got to vote. And now this is even more so when we look at the election year for 2020. So I want to bring some people into the neighborhood, man, that is far well more versed in this than I am. Van Jones, thank you to the neighborhood. Thank you for coming into the neighborhood, Van. It's a pleasure to have you in the neighborhood.
Hey, look, I'm happy to be here. I'm proud to be here, and I agree with you. This, if you ain't never voted or thought about voting, you got to do it this time. It's all on the line.
Yeah, man. And Roxanne Taylor, thank you for joining us in the neighborhood as well, Queen. Pleasure to have you in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All righty, let's get right into it. First off, what is Be Woke? Roxanne, what is Be Woke?
Well, you know, Be Woke Vote was created by myself, Deion Taylor, and Robert Smith during the midterm election. And it's really just trying to create initiative for Gen Z and millennials to understand how important it is to vote, right? To make sure that you understand whatever your beliefs are, wherever you're coming from, wherever you're at, that you have to register to vote to be heard. Right. And really trying to push that message, really trying to make sure the youth knows and unlearn that your vote does count. You know,
Right.
they are so wrapped up in this, your vote doesn't count, and really trying to make sure they understand that it does count. And it starts locally.
And Van, when we do speak about my vote doesn't count, or I've seen it happen before, how important do you feel, Van, that your vote is, and why people feel that it's really not?
Well, first of all, we got to be real honest about something. You cannot get everything you want by voting. That's true.
Yes.
But you can lose everything you got by not voting. That's also true. Okay? So we have to be as sophisticated as the system that's trying to hold us back. Well, listen, you know, I voted before, everything didn't change. Well, listen, you did one sit-up and you didn't get no good abs. that don't mean sit-ups don't work. That means you got to do more of it. Plus you got to eat right. Plus you got to jog. It's a lot you have to do to have a community that works, and voting is a part of it. Now, a lot of times you just have to vote defensively. You just have to vote so that the person who hates you and your mama and your grandmama doesn't have power over your children. That's just common sense. They say your vote doesn't count. What are they talking about? Because in 2016, more people voted for Hillary Clinton than voted for Donald Trump. But Donald Trump became president. That screwed a lot of people's brains up. So they jump on in the media and say, well, see, it doesn't matter, it doesn't count. They gonna pick who they gonna pick anyway, woo, woo, woo. See, that's ignorance. They are trying to keep us ignorant. See, when we grew up, they had Schoolhouse Rocks and cartoons to even tell the children how the system works. They took all that off the air. Once our numbers started getting big, they took all that off the air. So it is not true that your vote doesn't count. The Electoral College gives certain states certain weights and stuff like that. But you voted for the president and everybody else. They want to, oh, well, I don't care about Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah. Well, hold on a second. Do you care about the district attorney that's going to put Pookie in jail for 700 years and then give the white boy 2 months? Do you care about that? Do you care about the school board that's going to make sure that your kid goes to school with 36 kids in the classroom, 6 books, no chalk, while the other kid gets 12 kids and a computer? You care about that? It's a whole lot of decisions that get made based on who votes and who doesn't vote. And so we have to be real clear with folks. We're not up here saying that all you got to do is vote and tomorrow you're going to live in paradise. Just like we would never say eat one piece of a salad and you're going to have good health. That's ignorant. But if you never eat a salad, you ain't going to have good health. So let's be real with people and stop acting like it's either all one or the other. We have to vote, because if we don't vote, the people who hate us will have more power than they deserve to hurt us. Period.
And I tell people, Van, I tell them also, Roxanne, I'm like, if you don't cast your vote, someone's going to cast your vote for you.
Absolutely.
And 9 times out of 9.5, it's going to be the vote that you didn't want. And it's true locally. You wonder why you drive out and you got potholes in your neighborhood. It's because we missed the vote. You know, the same when you say the district attorney, the same when we talk about the schools. Like, we are sometimes the first to yell out, but the last to really show up sometimes, you know. And that's why I said, with the energy that we've had, we've seen 2020 going into 2020, we were 2020 is my year, hashtag 2020, hashtag 2020 vision. When we lost Kobe, we thought like, oh my gosh, 2020, what's going on here? Now we're in a full pandemic. The respect levels are through the roof right now. We see someone that's in office that really despises you. And we usually see people that say, you know what, when we have a new election or when we're going for the president, if there's a sitting president, you usually could show what's in the rearview mirror, show their flaws, show everything and say, do you want this guy again? Right. But when it comes to Trump, there has been so much that's been forgiven, so much that has been normalized that I'm even afraid of. You can't even show this man a pass, or look what he did with COVID. Look what he did with this. Both, bad people on both sides, like sons of bitches kneeling on. There's so many things that if we don't show up, then if we thought that what we had in the rearview mirror was bad, what we have in the windshield is going to be even worse. I couldn't imagine 4 more years of Donald Trump, specifically when I'm talking about the presidency.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if you don't vote, you're losing all your power, right? And if you don't vote, you can't complain, right? So you really have to show up. And obviously Gen Z and the millennials are our future, right? And we've got to get them interested. We got to we're trying to create these interactive events, you know, over this past weekend with Black Voters Registration Day being the first ever in history, our Compton event, you know, engaging the youth is so important. And if we can't capture that, then we will lose that election. We will, you know, and go ahead, Van. I see your finger.
No, I just want to add, I'm just trying to amen you, because the other thing too is, in the old school, we would talk about the president. These young folk now have so many problems that the president can't even solve them by him or herself. What does that mean? That means we have to think about this like the Avengers versus Thanos, right? In other words, Trump is Thanos. You don't send Ant-Man up against him or just one. Everybody's got to run, and almost like you're running for your own life. You're campaigning for your own self. Make your own videos. Give your own reason. If you don't like Biden, but you're going to vote for him anyway, say, I don't like him. I'm still going to vote for him. Here's why. Use your TikTok. Use your Instagram and run your own campaign. And look for other people. The president is one person in Washington, D.C. We need to send a whole flood of people to Washington, D.C. and Sacramento and City Hall behind this. You got California damn near burning to the ground. You got multiple hurricanes in the south, messing up Louisiana and other parts. You've got racial injustice. You've got a pandemic. You got no jobs. You got China rising. Do you sit? You just go TikTok? That's your answer? We're going to have to really step up. It's going to have to be all these movies these kids, young people have been watching, from the Hunger Games and this and that. That's you. Right. You're going to have to be that hero. You're going to be that shero. You got to be able to get your posse together, and don't let somebody tell you what weapon you use to fight your fight. You say, what weapon? All of them. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a creator. I want to be a spiritual person. I want to be a health conscious person. I want to be a strong voter. I want to be a demonstrator. Don't let anybody limit your and you need to get good at all of them, because then you might have half of a chance of winning in the last scene.
We've seen so many people also come together this year, you know, for whatever the reason may have been. And I told people, I said, man, we took to the streets. We held up signs, which was beautiful. We came together, but also we need to continue that same energy. You know, it couldn't be one and done. It could not be, you know, is it the reason or is it the season? You know what I'm saying? Are you here for the season or are you here for the real reason? And I've seen so many people, I'm like, is the way that we took to the streets, if we could take to the ballot the same way, you know, and I know that every time you know, if we vote, we don't get a pair of Nikes, or, you know, when people out there just doing things for themselves. But we had record number of people that felt like they was involved, this movement that was going, and that's what's got to show up as well. Go ahead, Van.
But that's you're making such a great point, because you got to think about it this way. The football season is about to start back up now, allegedly. I don't care how many plays you run, how many yards you get. If you stop 1 inch short of that touchdown, you get no points. Yeah. So we've been marching, but until you march to that voting booth, what were you marching for? So, you know, yes, the marching matters, the social media matters, all these things matter. But at the end of the day, this system works. Football works on, did you score the touchdown or not? I don't care how many good plays you ran. I don't care how many passes you threw. Did you score? You scored November 3rd. If this movement peters out before that, we may as well not even done it, because all then you would have done is what you said before. You got some people in office that are not acting right. They're disrespecting people. And then you got a movement that all they know is we will holler and we will shout and we will march, but we will not take power and govern.
I appreciate you, Van Jones. Thank you so much for being in the neighborhood. Roxanne Taylor, thank you so much. And we're not done. We're not one and done. we got to make sure that we continue these conversations
through election day.
Got to.
And when we come back to your real town hall meeting, man, one-on-one with Sheriff Alex Villanueva. Bro.
Wow, big boy. This is a moment, man. Very, very controversial.
Very.
When it comes to him and his department, and there's a lot of questions that are still unanswered, I believe.
Yeah, and you know what, man? We got answers to every question I asked. You know, even when and not I was trying to put him in a twist. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
it was just like they said, no holds barred. Ask any question. You know, some of the things I get it. You know, some of the things I get it, and then others I just felt like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
I don't know, but he definitely didn't hide.
Again, listen,
and
agree,
even coming in,
really,
is a lot. You know what I'm saying? That even coming in is a lot for Sheriff Alex Villanueva, because everybody's calling for resignations.
Sure.
You know, and real talk, man, it's got to be hard to be the sheriff at this time.
It's
like, you know what I'm saying?
It's got to be tough, man. And he's sitting there with it all comes back on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
And he has to answer every single question.
And that's the position that, he got elected into, and I know even just sitting here with the marquee saying Big Boy's Neighborhood, there's so many things that I can, I'm held accountable for. Sometimes it's not even on my end. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But this is the marquee. You know what I'm saying? And if people, called out for me, I would have to also, show up. And I think that's what we have coming up next.
It's great to have him on, Big Boy, because again, right or wrong, agree or disagree, this dialogue is extremely important, and we're about to have it.
So y'all continue to hang, man. We got a real town hall meeting. Sheriff Alex Villanueva is coming up next.
They come back to our real town hall.
Discussing serious issues in the black and brown community right now with Big Boy and Jay Cruz.
Real 92.3. LA's new home for hip hop.
Standing up to racism and racial injustice
in the black and brown community.
You do want to make sure that you listen to the next person that we're bringing in, man. This one right here, a lot of people know this man. A lot of people know the name. A lot of people are also, pro, and a lot of people are asking for the resignation, and that is...
This is true.
Yeah, L.A. County Sheriff Alex Villanueva.
Oh, boy. Okay, settle in.
Man, it's been a crazy 2020,
Yes.
And today, I really want to talk to you, bro. Like, when you came to the neighborhood the first time, you told us always continue to hold you accountable. That what we feel, we can have a conversation about it. And I definitely want to have a real conversation with you today. Andres Guardado. We got to talk about that, bro. 18 years of age. Shot multiple times in his back. There's so much controversy around Andres, and I don't even know where to start with you, Alex. First, they say, okay, at one point, unarmed. Was he armed?
He was armed.
Okay, so he was armed. What about the allegations of the deputies going and picking up the cameras from the scene?
Now, this is something we had a presser about this. I don't know, it's been over a month now. It seems like forever because so many things are happening so quickly. But there was a shooting prior to the Andres Guardado case, I think about a week prior, and there was there was a person who was shot there, and in that investigation, they seized the NVR, or the DVR, that has all the images from the security.
At the same place?
At that same place, pursuant to a search warrant. They left the cameras in place to seize the NVR for that shooting. So the week later, when the Guardado shooting hits, there's no NVR available. However, the cameras themselves have SD slots and has an SD card in the camera, typically. So another search warrant, they seized the cameras to see if they got lucky that they had an SD card in them that had images from that camera. Unfortunately, there were slots, but there are no cards inserted. So that ended up being a dead end. So the only image we have to date is an image of him the activity where the Andres runs away, the deputies show up, and they chase after him. That's the only image we have. On the other alternative is there's a search warrants, and we're trying to get iCloud things from cell phones that were present in the area at the time. And we may get lucky with one of those, but to date, nothing is proven.
And I don't know how much you can actually speak on the sheriff, but when you get certain people speaking, they say, okay, he was on his knees. He possibly had his hands in the air. And how many times was he shot in the back? Like how do people kind of so-called explain that away, or what's the truth behind that?
Well, the truth is that he was armed. He ran away. His DNA was found on the weapon itself. And from what we have, and this is where, again, the county decides to interfere they pick the worst time possible. Because when we do an autopsy hold on the results, we only do it because we still have interviews that we have to do with the people that are witnesses. We don't want to alter their testimony or taint it by having them know what the results of the autopsy are. But the Inspector General, Max Huntsman, and the board pressured the coroner to release the autopsy results. The family had released their own autopsy earlier. So what they did is they really, unfortunately, tainted the testimony of the deputy who was the shooter. And that's the last thing in the world you want to do. You want to get his opinion based on what he did and not be being artificially influenced by something else, that he should not have had that information. So if there was a criminal motive behind what he did, any opportunity they had to actually capture that, they lost it by their own willingness to want to somehow harm the department, harm the reputation of the department, or sensationalize it. Look, he was shot 5 times in the back. The only way you could have legally figured out what was the mindset of the deputy is him not having that information, and they gave it to him. And that's assuming, for argument's sake, they had a criminal motive, which does not appear to be the case at all. But so they ruined their own case.
Is that the reason why you guys didn't release the autopsy information? Was it to gather?
Exactly. Once we have the interviews in our hand, then we can release the autopsy information.
How do we tell the people? Like, people say that the gun was planted. People are saying that with Andres, happy kid, I had a chance to talk to his best friend who grew up with him since Andres was in the crib. I mean, since he was a baby. And I asked him, I said, bro, was Andres known to carry a gun? And when that kid looked at me and he said no, like, Alex, real talk, I believed him. Because I would think that if someone knew about their friend, and it wasn't like, maybe it was, I got to make him look a certain way. But he looked like, and I mean, this isn't my investigation, but he looked as, when he said my friend didn't carry a gun, I would think that I would know what my friend was doing. Now, maybe he's covering up for his friend, but you get so many people that say the gun was planted, he was shot in the back, he was on his knees, just things that just doesn't look good for the department,
Well, when we go through his cell phone and we have images of him holding a gun, we have his DNA on the gun, we have deputies observe him with the gun. That's a lot of data points that says he had the gun. Can't get around that. I know there's the other thing is that people
But we think plant too, though, Alex. You know what I'm saying? Like, we think that was planted.
A gun itself, deputies don't carry around guns to throw away in the plant. That's a little CSI and Hollywood. And that itself would be a major crime. Why would the motive be for someone, a deputy, to plant a gun on someone? Throw away their entire career, risk jail, prison, because that would be conspiracy. And if it winds up in the death of someone, that would be a murder itself. And that, just the facts don't support that at all.
When do we see something with Andres Guardado? Like, what's the next thing that we see that'll kind of either bring it home or make us understand that case even more?
Well, what's going to happen is they're still doing more investigation because we had to understand the context of what was going on in that place. It looks like the primary activity that was going on there, they were selling NAS for parties, and people were lined up literally with their little tanks to get their NAS. And why would you need an armed security at a mechanic shop? Is one, he couldn't be because he was not old enough, had no legal means to be armed himself. So we're understanding that part. Why was, the whole NAS operation? 2 years prior to that, there was a murder at that very same shop. So there's a lot of criminal activity going on right there. So we're trying to understand the context of the whole thing. And that may lead us to a better understanding of what Andres Guardado was doing there. And I think Once we have all these things closed, then they're going to present the case to the district attorney. So the district attorney will have a ruling on it, of whether the legality or not. Everything we're going to put on our website that we can. And you go to our website, lesd.org. We have a link for every single shooting, and we have all the evidence as it becomes available. We're throwing it on the website. This is something that's never been done before. We want to keep the public informed of every single thing we're doing, but transparency cannot come at the expense of the integrity of the investigation.
Thank you for coming into the neighborhood, Sheriff, and sitting down with us and, answering questions. I know there's going to be some people that say, I wasn't hard on you. I don't know how hard I'm supposed to be. I asked all the questions. You know what I'm saying? There was absolutely nothing that people said was off limits. There was no dialogue. I didn't talk to you till you came into the hallway. So just thank you for coming into the neighborhood, man. And we got a long road ahead of us, and I do want LA and surrounding areas to just also hear it out, hear it out. And even though we are upset with a lot, and we're uncomfortable, continue that dialogue. And once we get the answers and so on and so forth, then we can make sure that once we gather everything, that we can also make our judgment. But just to be, enraged, I can understand that. There's some real rage, and I see a lot of fake rage too, But I thank you for coming into the neighborhood, man, and we'll continue to talk. We'll continue to dialogue.
Oh, well, thank you, big boy. I always appreciate coming here to the neighborhood.
When we come back, a real town hall meeting, we got Saweetie who will be here joining us, Cruz.
We have to find out if Quavo is voting.
Yeah,
of course,
man.
We have to hit the hard-hitting question, red or green salsa.
Yeah,
we
man.
have to figure that out as well. And, of course, the importance of the young vote.
Yeah, man. So make sure y'all continue to hang with us, man.
Let's go.
Real town hall meeting. Saweetie is coming up next.
It's our Real Town Hall
with Big Boy and Jay Cruz on Real 92.3.
Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip-hop, standing up to racism and racial injustice in our black and brown communities. A real town hall meeting going down right now. Big Boy's neighborhood. Jay Cruz, The Cruz Show, and Saweetie is on now. Saweetie, what's good? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate the time and energy. Shout out to USC alumni, half black, half Filipino.
Saweetie, you went to USC too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a Trojan.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't go, but I know other people that went. That's why I said you went too.
I want to shout out Valley College at this point. Valley College, what's up?
Hey, Saweetie, you ever heard of West LA City College? Yeah, that's where I went. I went to West LA City College. You know what I'm saying? Didn't have no real major. It was more so when people asked what was I doing, that was like my saying,
that's what I'm doing.
I'm going to West. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I've been to USC many a times, many a times.
Great campus.
Yeah, yes,
Great
it
campus.
is.
Wow.
How you been holding up through this whole pandemic and everything, Queen?
Actually, I was the only child for like 11 years, so I'm in my natural habitat. I have fun at home by myself.
But hey, Saweetie, do you miss the people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you miss the shows? Do you miss the actual like fan base? Like, if you could have this and that, like if you could turn it on and turn it off, do you miss them?
Yes, I miss my shows. I miss festivals. I miss club hosting. I'm able to interact with my fans and so much fun. Like my fans are just so much fun. They like my little sisters.
Man, I love you in the neighborhood as well. This is the first time that we've had to like Zoom. You know what I'm saying? You don't call. You always come in. You know what I'm saying? And you're always
down for the cause. Always down for the cause.
And you're always so damn extremely nice.
I mean,
we were gonna play your record anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we were gonna play it.
We're convinced.
Yeah,
we got it.
I remember one day when she left out of here, she was like, "That black motherfucker." And I was like, "What?" She like, "Oh, I'm talking to."
No.
You're like, "I'm talking to Quavo." Oh, okay, all righty. So with the pandemic, are you able to still do y'all do date nights, or do you and Quavo y'all still have like date nights, or as opposed to outings? Do y'all have innings? That's what me and my wife call it.
How does that go down? Yeah.
Well, I cook for him a lot, and then in LA, we have the outdoor seating out here, so we was like going out every now and then. Other couples.
I would love to pass by or walk by a restaurant is see Saweetie and Quavo eating.
That'd be interesting.
Hell, I know. I'd be like, what the hell? And you know how fans are. We'd be like, you eat too?
You leave the house? You're a real person?
You love tacos?
I make the best tacos. I ain't gonna hold you.
All right, describe your taco, please. Pause.
I like street tacos, the flour kind. I make shrimp, squid, ground turkey type of tacos, sour cream, tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Hey, red or green salsa? Red or green salsa, sweetie?
Oh, red.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I'm a red.
I'm a green.
Really though?
I'm green with it.
Well, damn, we probably not eating authentic then. Because both of us said red. You like big if you go, man. You're like, man.
Nah, red is actually more authentic. That's OG.
When was the last time you cooked though?
Last night with my mom, I made some adobo.
Oh, damn. Oh,
how's your lumpia game? Is it crazy?
You all international.
Yeah. My grandma used to, my Lola, because Lola is grandma and y'all look like, she used to, if you have tiny fingers, it's easy to do it. So as a little kid, she'd make me roll the lumpia for her.
Wow.
All righty. Well, you the one who said tiny fingers. I don't want nobody to think that I done said something crazy. We in this cancel culture right now. You know what I'm saying? So
Very
that was
sensitive.
Saweetie. Yeah, that was Saweetie talking about tiny fingers and so on and so forth. Saweetie, while we have you here, we have a real town hall meeting. And we wanted to bring you in because we're in a place now where we're seeing this election year that's extremely important. Mm-hmm. And this, at the moment, I would think, Saweetie, this has got to be one of the most important elections possibly in your lifetime. And voting,
I think it is. I've never seen an election as intense as this since the first time Obama ran for office. Because everybody was like, first black president, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And I'm not going to lie, that was my only time voting because I wanted to see a black president in office. Right. Not only that, he was a great, president at that. But I've never seen it as intense as that moment. Maybe even more intense, only because America is just not good right now.
How important is it for your peers to understand how important this vote is and how important the young vote is, because a lot of fans of hip hop may not necessarily understand what's happening. They just know that they don't like it. What do you say to that?
I think it's important because every vote does count. I was doing some things with Rock the Vote, and I thought it was very, not alarming, but it blew me away to know that my generation and Generation Z makes up 40% of the voting population. So if me and my peers were to tap into, our fan bases, our crowds, our supporters, to let them know that their vote does count, I feel like it does make that difference. And I've been seeing, not just me, but other people who are in, my industry do that as well. So sure. I'm proud because of social media, the word is spreading quickly and people are like tapping into voting, hopefully.
Hey, Saweetie, what about those that just say, because I love the way you're using your platform, but those are just, the shut up and dance, the shut up and entertain, the shut up and dribbles. Like, have you come to any opposition if you do post something or you do say something?
No, not really. I've actually seen, it didn't happen to me, but I thought people were actually being came for because they weren't saying something, only because we do have thousands, if not millions of followers. And the only reason why I do say something is because my grandmother was an activist. So ever since I was a kid, she's been heavily into, making change, into voting, into just making her political standpoint. So because of her, I'm so interested, and I do feel like it's important for me to make a difference, especially in my community.
Do you feel like your vote counts?
Definitely, because it's if let's say if 40% of those people feel like their vote counts, that's a 40% difference. So it takes more than one person to vote, but it takes one person to make that difference. Because if my fans or the girls or the boys who look up to me see me doing it, then hopefully they'll do it too.
That's it. That's right. That's a chain reaction. Is Quavo voting?
Of course he is.
That's right.
He's a smart man. Smart man makes smart moves, and that's a smart move.
Hello.
Big move, yes. Big time.
Who brought who to the polling place? Did you have to bring him aboard, or is he bringing you aboard, or you guys just individuals understood how important the vote is?
I feel like we both are. These are conversations. Our conversations, we rap, we fashion,
right.
we that, but we talk about other things as well, and I feel like that's what makes us so strong because we have other conversations that are, important.
Are y'all gonna get married during this pandemic, or are we gonna wait it out?
What you think?
Yeah, let's wait. Let's wait it out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's wait it out. You know, because that way.
Party, and I can't have no big old wedding reception in quarantine, so I gotta wait.
There it is. Let me ask you this: you have your list is full for the wedding, right? You only have one more name you can invite. You see Big Boy and you see Jay Cruz.
Come on! Oh my God!
Who do you invite? It's only one invite left.
Sweetie, I'm gonna make it very easy.
No, you can't make it easy. Nah.
Come on, man. Listen.
No. The mic is off.
I have food poisoning that day. I don't want to catch an L, Big.
Yeah.
I think my service just went out. I didn't hear you.
I'll take it as such. One of our feelings were about to be hurt right there. One of our feelings were about to be hurt.
I'm gonna answer for her. It's obviously Big Boy.
No, it's not. Nah. She probably want I'm about to say she probably want a prettier crowd. That means none of us would be able to go.
I don't think either one of us are invited anyway, Big.
Right.
All good.
Y'all both coming to the wedding.
All right, remember you said that. Quavo what?
Believe it. Yeah.
Quavo what wedding? But just getting back to where we were when it comes to the actual town hall, because that's what's going on as a town hall meeting.
That's right.
But you know what I do love about this is that we're in a position where we can laugh, we can clown, but there's also times, Saweetie, where you have to take things extremely serious. And I think now where we are in this world, we done seen so much this 2020, not just the pandemic, Saweetie, but we've seen people, die right there on our, right on our phones. 8:46 no longer means the time anymore. We know 8:46 is how long they were on, brother George Floyd's neck. We've seen so much. What was, and I don't want to say shocking, but when you rewind your 2020, Saweetie, and you think about everything that you've seen in this year alone, what was shocking to you?
What was shocking to me? It wasn't new, but it definitely let me know that that this is not new, because it's the modern day lynchings, the people getting killed on camera and not being, the officers not having any repercussions or consequences. It just lets me know that this has been going on, and it's actually a normalcy for our country, and that's a big problem. And I feel like because all of those things have been circulating, it has opened eyes of the younger people, because we the ones on our phones all the time. So besides me and my peers educating and informing on why voting is important, I'm happy. I'm not happy, but I think it's good that people are able to see what negative things are happening, and we have the power to change those things to ensure that we have a brighter, safer, and more, just a better country in the future. Because it don't make no sense that all these people are getting killed on camera and they're not there's no consequences.
Yeah.
Absolutely no consequences, and that's scary. And it's the emotion is indescribable. And now I know what you mean with the shut up and dribble or shut up and rap, because I feel like, I'm not sure if any of my other peers feel like this, but it's kind of, how do we promote our music? How do we post our music? How do we continue with our career while these things are happening in America? And yes, we post this, but then the next slide is our music video. The next slide is, so it's what is that balance? How do you navigate through a time that is so sensitive as this one right now? So how do you guys feel about that?
You know what? I feel like we're bombarded with so much right now, and even with the way we do radio, Saweetie, it's like we got this game of enoughs. And at some point you just kind of wipe everything off and you say, you know what, we got to pay even more attention. It's not about phone taps. It's not about mixes. It's not about such and such. We got to just open up the phone lines and talk to the people or have real conversation. And we're kind of in that same position, Saweetie, where, we want you to be vocal, but we also need you as a getaway. You know what I'm saying? We need you also when we want to hear the music. We want to see certain things. So it's all a balance act. You know what I'm saying? If you just if I went on your Instagram or any of your social media platforms and it was always something, I say, okay, you know what? She's a soldier on the front line, but you are a queen and a soldier on the front line with the balance that you're doing here. We've had fun. We talked. We're in a real town hall meeting, and you've touched on so many things, and that's what life is. Life is that roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to come on and just totally talk to you about voting when there's a lifestyle. People see us as individuals. I want to hear about you and your tacos the same way. I want to hear about you and also, you know, voting and how you say that this is a very, you know, a very
ideologies and opinions, sure, yeah.
And I would say that this is a very crucial year when it comes to voting. So I think that, you know, we need it all, and there's never going to be a right answer, or you've done enough, or you've done too little. Just continue to be Saweetie.
Yeah, I love how hip hop, the consumer, the artist, the culture, tastemakers, we are currently the loudest voice in America.
Yeah.
When it comes to voting. That's why this is very important. Sweetie, we thank you very much for joining us, because you have your fans. Big Boy has his fans. We have our listeners here at Real 92.3 that are paying very close attention. If they see us active, that could hopefully turn them into voters as well.
All righty. And with that being said, we want to thank you for your time. Time is precious, and thank you for giving us your time.
Salute, Sweetie. Thank you.
No, of course. And thank you for always supporting me. You guys have always just giving me like great love. It's been a great conversation. Hopefully my fans who are listening right now is inspired to go out there and vote. So I appreciate y'all.
When we come back to a real town hall meeting, we got Isaac Bryan. We're going to speak about, you know, Measure J. And what Measure J really is, as far as your community, your surrounding areas, what exactly, you know, what we want to do with the dollars, so on and so forth. So trust me, you do want to continue to hang out with us, man. It's not just about president, vice president, also important measures like Measure J. So we got Isaac Bryan coming back. Y'all continue to hang out with us, man. A real town hall meeting. It is definitely going down right here on Real 92.3.
It's our Real Town Hall
with Big Boy and Jay Cruz on Real 92.3.
Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip-hop, is standing up to racism and racial injustice in the black and brown community. Big Boy's neighborhood, a real town hall meeting is going down in the neighborhood, man. And the one thing I would like to do is, we're in a position now where we're talking about, you know, votes. We're talking about, you know, not just president and, you know, but everything that could be affecting us locally in our community. Sometimes when we think about the vote, we think, you know, who do we want to be president?
Right.
And that's
There's
very
so
huge.
much more than that.
Yeah, very much, man. Who's that judge? Who's that sheriff? Who's
Thank you.
that DA? Who's sitting on your Senate seats?
Thank you.
And also just your measures as well, man. So I want to bring in Isaac Bryan. And we had a chance to kind of talk off air before, and we spoke briefly on air too. But Isaac Bryan, I want to bring you in, and we want to talk about the actual, when we're sitting here with the town hall, Measure J. Isaac, welcome again, my man. And if you can, explain what Measure J is.
Well, first of all, Big Boy and everybody, thank y'all for having me this morning.
Our pleasure, brother.
Welcome.
Measure J is a historic ballot measure here in LA County that, if passed with 50% of the vote, would reallocate 10% of unrestricted county revenues forever to go towards alternatives to incarceration and community investment. It's a statement of our budget priorities, and it funds the things that we've been calling for a long time.
And so I hear the pros, you know, who opposes this? Like just Isaac, across the board, it sounds like, oh man, that's a given. How do we not have this?
Should be a no-brainer, right?
Right. So this money, we're talking about $500 million to $1 billion a year in perpetuity, depending on county revenues, right, to go directly to our communities. But who can't have this money is the sheriff's department, the probation department, the courts, or the district attorney's office, right? And so that's our major opposition, specifically the Sheriff's Deputy Association, right? These system actors who have a vested interest in our caging and in our harm, they can't benefit from this measure, and therefore they've taken up arms in opposition.
Now, when we talking about also kind of, you know, moving things around and making sure that with Measure J that the money, you know, the funds go into the right direction, what do the opposition say about are we taking from, you know, the sheriff department? Are we taking from LAPD? Like, what is there an opposition with that as well?
So we're not taking directly from these budgets. We're just saying that the county has to prioritize at least 10% towards alternatives to incarceration and community investments in perpetuity forever. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to put up some implementation work and some implementation teams to figure out where exactly that 10% comes from the way things are currently allocated. Now, I'll tell you, the sheriff's department and the jail system have a disproportionate share of our county resources already. And that's what they're afraid of, is that if we prioritize something that's not caging our people, that it's going to come from their budget. But the language of the measure doesn't say it has to. I do think that there's a good call and a need to have that conversation about parts of it coming from there, though. And where it's not going to come from is any kind of social services or anywhere where we're already helping people. That's not where these dollars come from.
Now, what exactly is Reimagine LA? We know the hashtag. We had a chance to kind of speak on it.
Yeah, Reimagine LA is a coalition born out of the Movement for Black Lives, born out of the Justice LA coalition. It's a constellation of 25 organizations on the steering committee: Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, LA Can, United Way. I mean, really a diverse range of stakeholders, labor partners, the carpenters unions. It's really concerned people around LA County who want to reimagine what public safety and community safety looks like. So it's the everyday folks, it's the base building community organizations, it's organizers, and it's policy heads like me really trying to make a difference.
Hey, Isaac, this is Cruz, man. Good to talk to you. Thanks again for being here. We appreciate that. Appreciate the time and energy, my G. So Measure J, when it does happen, I say when it does happen, how soon does the community see benefit of that?
Cruz, my guy. Community's going to see the benefit right away, but it's going to be fully implemented over 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
Right? We want to make sure that we do this in a thoughtful way so that it has the most impact for helping people. But community is going to be involved right away because it's a community accountability mechanism and making sure these dollars go where they need to go, right? And we calling it Measure J because it's J for justice. That's the year we've been having, and that's what we're due, right? And I appreciate you saying when this passes because I believe it's going to pass too.
Absolutely, yes.
And I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
How can we get more information on Measure J?
Man, go to Yes on J online, join the coalition for updates. There's a sign in. Follow Reimagine LA on Twitter, on Facebook, on the gram, right? Stay active. Mail out ballots go out 3 days, right? October 5th. So we gotta show up. We gotta be heard. And tell your friends, tell your neighbors.
Yeah, man.
Tell your auntie, tell your grandmama. Of course, if they're Black women, they probably already know because that's our best voting base we've ever had in this entire country. But spread the word as best you can. We really got to turn out for this.
All righty, yes, Isaac. I appreciate you, my brother. And once again, we find it at Yes on J. Or yes, Measure J.
Yes on J.
Yes on J. Y'all continue to hang out with us, man. We got more of a Real Town Hall that returns next.
It's our Real Town Hall
with Big Boy and Jay Cruz on Real 92.3.
Real 92.3, LA's new home for hip hop, is standing up to racism and racial injustice in the Black and brown community. A real town hall meeting, man. It felt like that time.
Wow.
Like it just went, bro.
It flew, and there's so many things to take away from today's town hall meeting, right? Yeah. So many people, I believe, have been educated on what's really happening and what we can do, and encouraged, right? Encouraged to vote, register to vote at real923la.com/change. The sheriff, Big Boy, and the questions that you hit him with. Very honest questions. Yeah. You weren't playing, you weren't in the middle there, Big. You asked them what the city was, what the city wants to ask, right?
And you know what,
now,
man?
Do you feel that pressure?
As far as what pressure?
As the city listening and making sure that you ask all the right questions?
Yeah, there is a pressure there because when you've done radio and this is your turf, you know what I'm saying? And you say the voice of Los Angeles, you want to be, extremely careful and make sure that you are representing the people because there are going to be positions where people are not going to have a chance to sit down with Sheriff Alex Villanueva. Oh, yeah. They're not going to be able to ask him certain questions. And the one thing that I do say is that he showed up. You know what I'm saying? He didn't, he didn't tuck his tail. Right. There was no, send me a list of questions. And there's a lot of answers that it's not going to always be the right answer.
Sure.
It probably may not be what you agree with, but you have to ask the question and, you got to make the uncomfortable comfortable. You got to have those dialogues,
You have to, yeah.
And I would even say with Alex Villanueva, I would also say, man, when we first had Alex in the neighborhood, Cruz, we said, man, we're going to hold you accountable. We're going to hold you accountable. If you are the sheriff of Los Angeles, we're going to hold you accountable. And I think that's why he continues to, call in or, even with the town hall.
Sure.
Like we said it. You said that you'll be available.
Right.
And talk about it. Is he doing everything right? No. Is he doing everything wrong? No.
Yeah.
But he worked for the people. You know what I'm saying? And I think the people will continue to speak out. And hopefully, man, hopefully we'll see this play out where we get the benefit of, saying, okay, well, this job has been done, but also Saweetie, talking with her and seeing how she's encouraging, the younger demographic to get out there, and Quavo's voting as well. She said they sit down and they have great conversations and she make great tacos, which we'll see.
By the way, I think she's more political than Quavo, but
she gave it to both of them when we were talking about it, and once again, Mayor of Long Beach, Robert Garcia.
Yes, thank you
for being here, man. And Van Jones, CNN, also, political correspondent for being here.
Benjamin Crump.
Yeah, and attorney Benjamin Crump, powerful, man. And when he was saying that this Breonna Taylor thing, it is not over.
Great conversation.
But we definitely want to thank you guys for hanging out with us, man. Remember, exercise that right to vote. Make sure that you are registered. Make sure that you show up November 3rd. And thank you for spending your time with Jay Cruz and your partner Big Boy for a real town hall meeting right here on Real 92.3. Thank you, Cruz.
Thank you, Big.
Easy call.